Hello, everyone. Welcome to Idea Talks, a Unite podcast focusing on topics such as inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. Here we discuss how we can create a better work environment for everyone and our universities. My name is Kasia Jach from Wrocław Tech. We will be hosting this episode where we will discuss about barrier-free universities in the context of people. We would like to speak about accessibility leaders as one of the good practices of diversity and inclusion at Wrocław Tech, with our guest speaker, Magda Hołowka. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Magdalena Hołowko. I work at the Department of Foreign Languages at Wrocław University of Science and Technology. And since 2021, I've been representing the Director of Foreign Languages when it comes to people with disabilities. And it's been a very rewarding job for me, quite frankly.
Okay, so maybe we start with introducing of our team of accessibility leaders.
There are a lot of them at different departments. In our department, there are 9 of them, which I think is the greatest number, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
So these are people who, I would say they're special because they're sensitive, they're understanding, and they're very open, especially to our students, right, and to their needs. But they're very supportive to one another as well, which is something extraordinary, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe I can tell what is the main role of accessibility leaders. They are here to support our different accessibility issues, including such things like talks and contacts with people with special needs, which I think it is very demanding job. And on the other side, we are supporting accessibility in different dimensions. I mean, architecture and digital accessibility and communication as well.
And there are more and more people of special needs at university.
Yeah, in fact, we can observe, this is quite strange because we can observe that we have a lowering number of people with a disability certificate at our university. And the increasing number of people with special needs, like psychological issues and autism spectrum disorder, for example.
Yeah. Well, we meet those people actually every day in our department, just because we have students from different departments and different fields of studies coming to learn foreign languages. And we've noticed that there are more and more people suffering from mental health problems, and especially being on the spectrum, right? And well, not every teacher is trained to deal with that, and it's very difficult. Not every student is brave enough to admit it and to say it to the teacher. And it's very important. And if you want to help them out somehow, you just need to know about it, which is tricky.
Yeah, and now I think that you mentioned the main role of accessibility leaders, because they are a kind of connection between teachers and staff and students with special needs. And this is, I think, very, very important to be this kind of bridge. Because we are trained, we know maybe more, we know the system, how we can support people with special needs at our university. And that's why it's easier for us to speak with such people. And on the other hand, teachers and staff knows that we are here and we are representing accessibility issues. So that's why it's easier to have a contact with them.
Yeah, I think it's well said. It's about building bridges. It's about communication and building trust, especially during the class, when teacher is no longer a teacher figure or professor figure, but becomes more accessible to students and to people. Then they just come over, and knowing that there is this trust and they can trust someone, they just come over and reveal what's important to them, what bothers them. And I've seen that a lot. They come to our office hours. They share important information during individual classes. So it's really nice to look at it, that we've created something amazing, I think, here. And this it's a project that I've never heard of it. I've never heard that it's somewhere else. It's just here. And those people, I got to add something also when it comes to one another. They support one another. They just give a shoulder to cry on for one another. So it's a very nice group that supports one another as well, which is something unique and special as well.
Yeah, this is another thing that if we know each other, we can support each other as well. And I can observe that our group is supporting each other. And I mean different things like you mentioned, this crying on the shoulder. But on the other hand, we can support because we don't know everything. So,
Exactly.
for example, today we have a question at our WhatsApp group. Where we can find the way how you can diagnose people on the autism spectrum when they are adult, which is not so obvious for everybody.
Of course.
And there are already answers. So this is very easy way to support each
Exactly.
other.
It's a quick access to information, right? Because
Yeah.
we have those WhatsApp groups and we can communicate. And it's all about communication again, right? It's about understanding, hearing you out, right? And knowing where you are, knowing your standing and understanding what you're going through is important. And attending extra trainings as well, as you said, Kasia, at the beginning, right? Because I think these are eye-opening trainings for many.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of people, they were quite different years ago and they've changed. They became like different, more understanding, more open to students, to one another as well. It's nice to look at it.
Could you give an example? What kind of training was especially touching for you?
For me, especially as I said earlier, those about communication, because I believe it's just the basics, right? It's the starting point. If we communicate in a respectful way with one another, then it just builds trust, and people would come over to you because they notice after the sentences you use, the words you use, right? They know what kind of person you are, how open you are as a person. So I loved the ones that were given to me, especially about communication. And then later on about those people with autism syndrome as well, right? Because, well, you never know, right? For my kids, even when I talk to them, they would just easily label someone, right? Saying, oh, he's naughty, he misbehaves, mom, he's stupid, something's wrong about him, right? And it's not always so. And we know it now that it's not always so. And it's very difficult because those kids at school, if they're on the spectrum, they're difficult and it's hard to handle. And if it's not a stomachache, cancer, or something that is, the disease that is physical, it's hard for children or people understand what you're going through.
Yeah, in fact, this is quite an important problem here at the university, that most of our students with special needs, they have invisible disabilities invisible needs.
Problems.
Yeah, and this is a kind of issue because, we treat very well people when we see that something goes wrong with them.
Exactly.
Maybe it is not a nice word, but I think it is a good way. But we have troubles when we don't understand people.
Exactly.
And these trainings about awareness and about knowing the spectrum of special needs were needed to show this different approaches, let's say.
Yeah, hidden issues, right? Hidden issues that we should be able to see through them, right? And to go beyond with all that. It's very important. And it's also about this in design, as you said earlier, right? About the universal design. It shouldn't be just for the majority. It should be for everyone, right?
So maybe a few words about the universal design approach, because it is about accessibility at our university as well. When we think in universal design categories, we think that we should design not for the average person, but for everybody.
Exactly.
And this is important because, and we can see this on every step. For example, when we are entering the building, we can see that if there is no stairs, everybody can access. And the same with our classes, for example, if there is no special tests, if we design our curricula for everybody, it means that everybody can use this.
Exactly.
These classes.
But it should be. We should be aware of the fact that curriculum and tests, they can be adjusted, right, or just slightly modified, and it's not a big effort. It's not a big deal to do it. Quite frankly, I always ask, if there's something I need to know about, please let me know. And I need to repeat that, right? This is something that you also remind our professors and teachers about at the beginning of each semester, which I
Yes.
think is a very wise practice. And I keep repeating this phrase, right? Because I know that they may not be so courageous and brave at the beginning of the term. Later on, when they get to know me slightly more, they might come over and they see how open you are, we are, right? How open is group, right? They either talk during the office hours or through email, right? Or right after the class, and they explain what's happening to it. And sometimes it's enough to modify a tiny thing, and it opens new possibilities. It turns out that you may use different methods because you have a student who is visually impaired or who's got some hearing deficiencies, right? And then if you try different methods, it may work for everybody, not only for those people with disabilities or special needs students, but just for everybody. So it could be like a new beginning, right? Quite frankly, creative and it could be fun as well.
Yeah, so this is because you told about rewarding job. So I think this is a good example that work with students with special needs can be very rewarding, and it is a kind of against burnout.
Yeah, exactly. We get the feedback. We ask about feedback as well. We have individual classes, language classes for people with disabilities and special needs students in our department. And it shows especially, right, how you can build close connection to someone. Because if you're one-on-one, it's slightly different. And they open up. They talk about lots of things. And then they write feedback at the end. And mostly they're really happy about the relationship they had with the teacher there, that they had someone to talk to, quite frankly. That's important. Someone who's been listening to them.
And I think in this way we are building belonging as well.
Exactly.
And this is not only for students, but for us as well.
Yeah.
And it is belonging for academy. And for our group as well.
Yes, and then you want to identify with university. You want to identify with your department, right? It's not about the T-shirt or a cap, right? But through the T-shirt and a cap, you actually express that you want to be part of this group, right? So it's not just another T-shirt, another item that is trendy, right? But you just want to express that you want to be part of this group, these people there, right? And it's about whether you like them or not, whether you feel that you're understood there, or so on.
We talk about making bridges between staff and students, and maybe we can have a few words about trainings we provide for staff and students as well. These trainings are connected with different aspects also of accessibility. Can you name some?
We talked about autism spectrum, about communication. We talked about trainings for people who are deaf, who have some hearing deficiencies, visual impairment, for example, right? So that's very important.
Yeah, I think that a very nice practice you can mention is the trial defense of thesis. This is really challenging for our students with spectrum disorder, especially. And what we can practice and we propose for them is a special trial exam with artificial commission. And I think this is a very good training for them, because they can feel like during
they can get prepared for the real one, right? In that kind of mock exam or whatever that is, right? That you can it's an ice-breaking kind of thing, right? So you can eliminate stress once you go through it, and you see that those people there, they're friendly, they're okay, right? They're on your side, right? So no one's against you there. It's just a formality that you need to go through.
Yeah. And coming to formalities, I would like to say that our accessibility leaders team is based on our internal regulations. We all are named by our rector. And I think this is important as well, that our management, rector and prorectors are really supporting us with these issues.
Well, we also should say that all those trainings that we go through, right, they help us in our private life as well, I would say, in our family matters as well, right? And it's not only work and it's not only students that all those things that we learn about, they help us with, right? It's also like our private dilemmas and issues that we go through. I think it's very helpful.
Yeah, I think that this is a volunteering job, but on the other side, this training and being together is benefiting for us.
Definitely. We benefit from it, and not only at work, but also in our private life a lot. So there are lots of different leaders of accessibility at different departments, aren't they?
Yes, and according to my knowledge, this is the most diverse team at the university because we have female and male staff. We have professors and doctors and administrative staff as well. We have different departments. In fact, all the faculties and different units at the university representing. And I think this is very good so that we can meet each other in this team and exchange information. And of course, we all know what a kind of support, general support we have at our university. I mean our accessibility office and I mean our psychological counseling.
Mm-hmm. I think it's great that there's a great diversity and people are actually in every department because again, they're closer to students and students study different things, different fields of study, they have different needs. So the more diversity, the better, right? So we can be helpful in many different ways to our students.
Yes, so we mentioned already trainings and artificial defense exams, but we have a lot of tutoring as well. And some of our leaders work with students with special needs every week, for example, which is challenging as well. But this is because of their special needs.
Do they help them with organization of studies as well?
A little bit. However, with these issues, usually we use assistance. So this is another form of support.
I see, I understand. Because here in our department, we actually... Well, it's not only language that we focus on, but I also mention dyslexia very often, and that's also trainings that we attended. But this is also something that we focus on. That is not only writing and reading that students have problems with, but it's also this hearing thing that it can affect your perception and memory. That it's based on this perception, and it can affect the way you see yourself, your confidence as well, right?
So once again, we are coming back to psychological issues.
Yeah, exactly, and the openness there.
Okay, so maybe we can speak about takeaway. What we'd like to tell at the end of our talk?
That it's worth attending lots of trainings, maybe just because they're eye-opening. And once you change something, you notice the difference and it's really rewarding. You can see the results of it. You can see how students respond. You can see how people respond to you. You can see how beneficial it is for your families, right? And it's worth going there. It's not always easy because of your private matters, private lives. You're busy. We are all busy. But once you find time, it's good because it's time actually for yourself. It's something that you do for yourself, and it's a life changer, quite frankly.
On the other hand, I can tell that we are doing everything for ourselves because every one of us will be or is a person with special needs sometimes. So if we are doing things according to universal design approach, we are doing things for us.
Yes, people are elderly, people are pregnant, people, I don't know, have out of the sudden they couldn't sleep at night, they wake up in a bad mood, there is something, they have splitting headaches, right? Or limb problems. Lots of things might happen to us. And if you see yourself like that, right, you might also think about other people who just need to struggle with that on an everyday basis.
Yeah, and the other takeaway is that together we can really make a change and we can observe it at our university.
The more of us, the better.
Yeah, sometimes as well. Thank you, Magda, for your talk.
Thank you.
And on behalf of the entire Unite community, we want to thank you so much for accepting our invitation and having this important conversation with us. We really appreciate your time and insights. Stay tuned for the next episode of Idea Talks.
Thank you.
Thank you.